Can you tell me about your attitude to St. Petersburg? What have you seen? Where have you been already? And how do you find St. Petersburg?
I think it's absolutely beautiful. I was actually very excited. All of my friends, when they told me that I went to Moscow previously and saw Red Square in the Kremlin, they said I had not been properly to Russia if I hadn't been to St. Petersburg. So for me, this is very exciting. I've only been here a couple of days, and I've been here in the conference, but I have ballet tickets for this evening, and I'm hoping to spend some of tomorrow sightseeing.
What ballet are you going to see?
I don't know, actually. My colleagues bought the tickets for me, but they told me we had a special opportunity to go, and I didn't want to miss that.
Do you have any other cultural program in St. Petersburg?
Not yet. I haven't planned anything yet, but my hope is to spend tomorrow seeing the sights.
Okay, see. I know that you've talked with my colleague about IBM technology, 3D printers, and other nanotechnology gadgets. And your opinion was that these developments can overturn economy in the future. Can you speak a little bit more about this economy boost by nanotechnologies?
Yeah, absolutely. We believe that 3D printing, advanced robotics, and open source electronics are going to really change the way products are designed and made. So today, when we think about how things are made, we think about factories full of machinery or warehouses full of inventory. But in the future, what's going to happen is that products are going to be defined by software, and it will be possible to make almost anything anywhere. And it's going to completely change how companies design, build, and sell their products.
Well, what I heard about 3D printing is that you can print a machine gun or a hamburger. Is it true?
Yes, both are true. One of them is more real than the other. 3D printing of food is still to come. It's in the early stages. 3D printing of all kinds of mechanical items, including potentially weapons, is already here. And it's going to be a challenge, not just because of laws, but because of the availability of information to send things around. So today, when you ship a product from one country to another, it's a physical product. It has to go through customs, it gets controlled and secured. In the future, you will just be able to send the product by clicking send on your computer. And when that happens, governments are going to be very challenged to think about security, about intellectual property rights, and even taxes, because it may be harder to track what products were made, where, and by whom.
And do you think that no, not the right beginning of the question, I'm sorry. What if such technology as 3D printing will be in the hands of, for instance, terrorist groups who are going to print out guns, weapons, etc., without any control, without any guidance? What will be then? How to control all this technology innovation?
Our experience is that it's extremely hard to control technology innovation. If you look at the music and movie business, although there's been a tremendous amount of legislation and a lot of enforcement, it's not easy really to stop movie and music piracy. We believe that overwhelmingly, this technology revolution is going to be good. It's going to create jobs, it's going to create opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses. So overall, we're very, very positive about it. But there's no question that governments are going to have to think carefully about how they control everything from intellectual property to taxes to security.
Who do you think as a potential buyer of these nanotechnologies? Companies, governments, or maybe somebody else?
So our view is that everybody is a potential buyer. Already there's a pretty large business selling these products to consumers, and there's even a website called Tinkercad where children can design their own toys and print them out. And I think that's amazing. But we'll certainly also see enterprises. This technology is going to make it possible for even small and medium-sized companies to build their own manufacturing instead of having to send products off to a faraway location to be made. And we also believe that governments will be using this technology for advanced research purposes.
And as we're in Russia, so who are your investors or partners in Russia in this new nanotechnologies?
So because we are always careful about client confidentiality, we can't disclose it. We're working with a number of organizations in Russia to understand the impact of these technologies. I've also observed that, and I live in Silicon Valley, I've also observed that it's harder and harder these days to say, well, this is a Russian company or an American company. One of the biggest investors in Facebook is a Russian entrepreneur. There are lots of Russian companies that are perhaps conceived of and funded in Russia but set up in Silicon Valley. So it's harder and harder to just say it's a Russian company or an American company. This is really a global business, and the technology impact here is going to be truly global.
What do you think about the cybersecurity and the latest scandal with the PRISM program?
Cybersecurity is very, very important, and what we're going to see more and more of is both individuals and enterprises thinking carefully about how they secure their data. IBM is actually making a big investment. We have our own Internet Security Services division, and I think this will become more and more important for consumers in the future.
And what about the PRISM program, which was used by the US government?
So obviously we've read a lot about it, but that's one of those things where it's probably better not for me to talk about it. It's out of my sort of scope of focus.
It's okay, I just was wondering. And the last question about the Putin and Merkel's speech. What is your impression? Do you think it was important to deliver such speech? What kinds of topics did you like? What do you think about the Syria conflict they discussed? Your impressions?
Well, unfortunately, I was actually preparing for my presentation when Putin and Angela Merkel were speaking, so I didn't get a chance to see it, and I can't give you any reaction. I can say that I've attended a bunch of the panel discussions here, and this event is amazing. To be able to talk to and hear from so many industry leaders, that's why I'm here, to share our story, but also to listen to the incredible insights that have been coming from all the executives and government leaders here.